Hi guys, welcome back to CJ's Keto Kitchen. Tonight we're going to be making a very easy dish that is a terrific way to use ground meat. We are going to be making keto meatballs, so come along with me and let's get started. So tonight we're going to be making meatballs, and the ones that I'm going to be making happen to be Italian. But these meatballs can be made any flavor. You could use them with a sweet and sour sauce. You could use a barbecue sauce. There's a lot of great sugar-free barbecue sauce options out there. You could make these teriyaki. It's, Asian, anything you wanted. It's a very, very easy recipe, and so that you can flavor them however you'd like. You could also put them on skewers and make them more like kebabs. You could put them with a marinara sauce and mozzarella cheese on some kind of keto bread and make meatball sandwiches. The possibilities are endless. But tonight I'm going to be making Italian ones, and I'm going to be serving them over zoodles in a marinara sauce. So let's go ahead and get started with this easy recipe. So to begin our keto meatballs, we are going to start in a bowl because we're going to combine all of our ingredients into our meats and then form our meatballs. And you also want to start a skillet. I can see I have something on my burner, of course, because this is a very greasy way of life, right? And I just put a tiny bit of avocado oil spray in there. Our meat is going to create enough of its own juices, but I don't want anything to stick when I first put it into the pan. And we are going to brown our meatballs, and then we're going to put them in the oven because that is going to create a juicy, tender meatball, and you also don't have to sleep over the stove watching meatballs. So, in a bowl, I have 1 pound of ground pork, just plain ground pork, not Italian sausage. And I also have 1 pound of 80-20 ground beef. Now, if you prefer lamb or veal, those are also very traditional for meatballs. You could use a pound of one of those instead, or any ratio that you would like. This should make around 20 meatballs, so with these 2 pounds of meat. So, to our ground meat, we are going to be adding, I have a little bit of fresh oregano and fresh thyme chopped up, just about a tablespoon of each, and you do not have to use fresh herbs. I just had them on hand from previous recipes, so I wanted to use them up. I'm also going to add about 1/4 cup of finely chopped purple onion, and this is very finely chopped. You could add green onion, you could omit onion, you could use shallots, whatever it is that you prefer. I'm also going to add some seasonings because we want our meatballs to be very flavorful. So I need some Himalayan salt, and I'm going to add about a teaspoon so that the inside of our meatballs are very savory and flavorful. I'm also going to add a few sprinkles of Trader Joe's 21 seasoning salute. And I also want to add some Italian seasoning because I know that we put in a few fresh herbs, but I want to add just a little bit more in powdered form. Of course, season things the way that you would like. As I discussed in the intro, these do not have to be Italian meatballs. You could put Cajun seasoning in there. You could just lightly season them some other way and have a barbecue sauce glaze. These are very versatile meatballs, so you wouldn't have to make them Italian. You could make them any flavor that you want. You could make them Asian. It's completely up to you. So now I am going to wash my hands, and I'm going to use clean hands, and I'm going to start grinding this up with my hands. Okay, so we are just going to get into this just like we do for meatloaf. It's a very similar concept because clean hands really do combine the meat in the best way that a spoon or a fork just really doesn't quite cut it. So we want to make sure that our beef and our pork are combined together so that we have a little in each meatball. Okay. But we don't want to necessarily overwork the meat either. Okay, so our next ingredients are, we need 1/2 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. That's the powdered kind in a canister. Because this is going to act almost like a breadcrumb. Some people will put pork rinds in this, but sometimes pork rinds can tend to absorb the moisture. And we want to keep as much moisture as we can inside our meatballs. Since it's not going to be in a loaf, it's going to be in tiny balls. So we want to keep it as moist as we can. So that's just our Parmesan cheese. We also need 1 egg. And then a very special step is some heavy whipping cream. I'm going to put in about 1/4 cup. And I do this in my meatloaf as well. It's something that my grandmother always did. And cream adds a richness and a moisture that you really can't get from anything else. So I'm going to then work the rest of this in with my hands once again. And try and make sure everything gets evenly combined. And we are going to be putting these meatballs in a skillet. And we're just going to brown the outside. And then we are going to finish them in the oven. And the oven keeps them nice and tender, and of course you don't have to watch them as much as you would if they were in a skillet. But the browning step just gives them that nice rich brownness. If you were just to put the meatballs in the oven, they wouldn't necessarily get brown. So, but it's up to you whether or not you care about your meatballs being brown. If you're just going to put them in a sauce, which we are, but I still like a brown meatball, and you get that Maillard effect, which really brings out the richness of the meat. Okay, so here we have our meat, and I am going to get my scoop and scoop out meatballs and get them going in the pan. And I'm just going to be using my cookie baller so that I can get even sized meatballs. And it makes a nice pretty round meatball. And I'm just going to start placing them in my skillet so that they can get brown. You could just use a spoon, or you could eyeball it, whatever you'd like. We're just going to eat these, so they don't have to look super perfect. And I have my burner on in between a 6 and a 7, so that would be kind of, I guess it would be medium-high, in between medium and medium-high. And as I said, this should make around 20 meatballs, maybe a little more, a little less. But they're only going to be 1 carb for 3 meatballs. So it's a very nice low carb dish while still being rich and meaty. And you could serve these in any way that you would like. You can serve them over zoodles, which is what we're going to be doing in a red sauce. You could use an Alfredo sauce. You could use shirataki noodles, or you could also do spaghetti squash, or you could just have them plain. You could just eat them as is. Okay, you don't want to bother these too much, because the more you leave them alone to sear on the first side, the better it will be when we go to turn them.
Alexa, beatbox for me.
Okay, I am going to start turning the ones that I put on the outside first because they've been cooking the longest. And I'm just going to be using my tongs. And these are silicone coated. These were actually a gift from my aunt and uncle, Jesse and Suzanne Ong. They actually have a society in San Antonio, Texas called the Diabesity Society. That's a combination of diabetes and obesity. And they give seminars. So if you are looking for any kind of assistance with your keto lifestyle, they're in San Antonio. I will link their website down below.
case you wanted to check it out. So we're just going to start turning these, and you can see that they've gotten nicely browned on one side. And we're not going to need to do these on all sides, just the top and the bottom, because they will finish fully cooking in the oven. We're just going for a browning effect on two sides. That'll give us our nice, rich, golden brown. But then they will fully cook the rest of the way in the oven. So you have the ease of not having to watch these after you get two sides browned. But you also have the lovely browning crunch that skillet frying gives you. These meatballs would freeze very well. So if you feel like having a meal prep or a cooking day on a weekend or something, and you just wanted to cook up a bunch of things and freeze them for later on in the week or a special occasion, these freeze very well. And also sometimes I have just, if I have extra meat, I have just frozen the combined meatball mixture or meatloaf mixture in a Ziploc baggie and frozen that. So if I wanted to, I could just thaw it out and it's already seasoned and ready to go into a loaf pan or be made into meatballs, and then I can just do it and I don't have to mix anything up. So that's also something you can do as far as freezing. So we're going to let the other side brown, and then we're going to put them in the oven.
We have browned them on both sides now. And now I'm going to take our meatballs and I'm going to put them on a cookie sheet. And I have my cookie sheet covered with foil. And I've also lightly sprayed it with avocado oil. They should be oily enough, but just in case, I want to make sure that they're not going to stick to the aluminum foil. So I have preheated my oven to 400 degrees. And I'm just going to put them evenly spaced on the cookie sheet. And these are going to go in for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're fully cooked. And we are going to be serving ours over zoodles, which CJ is going to kindly do for me. He does it so much better than I do. Yay! So I ended up with closer to 30 meatballs. But it all depends on how generous you make your meatballs, and as you can see, mine are not even though I used a cookie scoop. They still turn out to be different sizes, which is kind of nice because it's rustic. It's rustic Italiano. So anyway, and you can save your drippings if you would like and use that in your sauce. You could just make a gravy with these. You could make a mushroom gravy with these. That would be very good. There's really so many ways that you can do meatballs. So I'm going to put these in the oven, like I said, for about 15 to 20 minutes or until they're no longer pink, but still tender on the inside. All right, in they go. Okay, CJ is going to demonstrate our spiralizing, or zoodles, as they're affectionately known.
And we're just going to use a
handheld.
We have an electric one, but it's just easier sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, it's more difficult to wash all the parts than it is just to use this one. Yeah. So this is the one that we've had for a long time, and we will link it in our Amazon storefront as things that we enjoy.
And they're a handy tool to have.
And they're not very expensive. They're usually around $10.
Yeah.
And it's got two different sides.
Yeah, and we're actually missing a piece. We're missing the
thing that holds it. I've never used that though, because I'm always too afraid to get too close. But yeah, it's personal
Well, but that's the whole point, though. If you have it on there, then if you have
then
that on
get
there,
a little closer.
Well, no, you get too close, and then you can cut your finger.
Right.
That stops you from getting too close.
I like to live on the edge.
Yeah. Sure.
But it has two different cutting sizes.
Now the trick though is, you need to get good zucchini. You don't want to get...
It's good to get zucchini that is like even in size. like this one, you know, where they're even all the way around, kind of not too big, like the butt's not too big. So anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, once you do it, you kind of figure out what
And
works.
some zucchini are more watery than others, I've noticed.
That's true. So it's...
You really kind of have to shop around a little.
So I think, let's see, that's that. I'll go on the other side.
Just to see what...
Because one of them does, one side does a bigger...
Like fettuccine versus spaghetti.
Right, this is, okay, so this looks like the spaghetti side. It's thinner.
Yes, it is. Skinnier.
Yeah, it's skinnier than the other side. So it's a personal preference.
Some people eat it raw, and I usually like to pop it in the microwave with a little bit of saran wrap over my bowl. No water, because it's going to create its own water.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's...
So you usually have to get quite a few zucchini. You think, this is going to be way too much, but it cooks way down, almost like spinach.
Yeah, it does. And it will have a lot of water in it. Unless you do the step of wringing them
Right,
out.
which I always do when I'm making any kind of casserole. I sweat them with salt and then I wring them. But for just, you know, for easy meatball spaghetti night,
Yeah.
we just use it. And see, these little reserved spirals is usually a snack for CJ. He just pops them in his mouth. So here is our mound of finished zucchini, and this was 5 zucchini?
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5.
5 zucchini. 5 regular size zucchini.
It'll cook down too.
You'll be amazed how far this will cook down. Okay, it's been 20 minutes. It's time for our meatballs to come out. And you can see they're lovely, browned, tender and juicy, fully cooked. Now I'm going to put these meatballs back in our pan, and I'm going to put in some reserved marinara sauce. And then I'm going to serve it over zoodles and let CJ have a taste. So I'm going to put a lid on it, and I'm just going to heat them until our sauce warms up because our meatballs are already warm. Hi CJ.
Hi.
Welcome to Sarah's Italian restaurant. No, I'm just kidding. It's CJ's Keto Kitchen. But we're having Italian food.
It could be Sarah's looking at the restaurant, whatever, it's fine.
We are having
It's your house too.
keto meatballs. And we are serving ours over zoodles with mozzarella and Parmesan cheese.
Okay, so the star of the show is really the meatballs.
That's
so
correct.
That's what I will
Focus in on.
focus in on.
It's hot. Be careful.
Okay, that's hot. But it's good. Sorry. They're chewy. They got good flavor. They really have a good flavor. I don't think you've ever made meatballs before. Well, they're good, baby.
I don't know why, because I used to make meatballs all the time when I was a carb eater.
And this
They were
is
generally
a combination of pork and
beef. Yeah, but you could use lamb, you could use veal, whatever you like.
yeah, it's good. It's really good.
But I think personally a meat combo works better than just using one
Really?
meat. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's got some good flavor notes to it. Wow, that was fancy. Flavor notes.
Good job. Maybe the Food Network will call.
Maybe. Not. All right. Good job, baby. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us again tonight, you guys. We hope that you enjoy the meatballs. Remember that you can always freeze these, and they keep very well, and it makes very easy dinner for a very busy weeknight. We hope that you will come back and see us again and hit the notification bell and subscribe so that you know when we upload new content. We release our recipes every Sunday, and we also have keto conversations on Wednesdays, and that's where we get together and talk about different keto topics. Sometimes we have ketogenic food subscription unboxings, and other times we're just getting together and supporting each other on this lifestyle. Also, please consider joining us on social media. We sometimes release teaser photographs for our recipes that come up on Sunday, and that's generally on Instagram and on Facebook. And we're also on Twitter and Pinterest, and that's cjsketokitchen.com. And also our blog, cjsketokitchen.com, has all of the nutritional information, both for this recipe and also all of our other recipes, recipe ideas, and also just nice stories and thoughts about keto. So come on over there and see us. And once again, that's cjsketokitchen.com. So we look forward to seeing you next time, and we'll see you then.